Good evening, hockey fans. This is the Power Play on WDSR Radio. I am Katie Zach, and tonight I am joined by my fellow radio hosts and classmates, and they are...
What's going on, guys? I'm Daisy Ruth.
Good to be back, guys. This is Chris.
And we have another night filled with hockey updates, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And, of course, as everyone knows right now, the Olympics are still ongoing, and we're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty and towards the fun stuff. I know the women's United States hockey team is taking on Canada for the gold medal, and the men's hockey teams are going to be picking up their qualifying round play very soon. So I guess let's start off with women's hockey. USA and Canada. It's going to be an interesting matchup, I think.
Definitely sort of a rematch of 4 years ago when the Canadians beat the US back in Vancouver. One thing which really impressed me today was just the shot count of the dominance which the US have shown throughout this tournament. Apart from that game against Canada, which they lost 3-2, they've dominated every team, and 17-9 in shots is unheard of, especially in the Olympics.
The shot ratio was what really amazed me the most. I mean, I watched a little bit of the game. Again, like I said last week, I got to value my sleep. I'm a college student right now, so that's got to come first in my book. But, the shot ratio, 70-9, that's insane. That's almost unheard of.
Outshot 70-9, beat Sweden 5-1. Alex Carpenter, Casey Bellamy, and Amanda Kessel all scored first period goals, and they outshot Sweden 27-1 in the first period. And Jessie Vetter was in net for the United States women, and she must have been pretty bored throughout that whole game. They got one through, but that was some pretty good goaltending on her part, and some awesome defense as well.
How much advantage do you think it is for the US to have already played Canada in the group stage? Do you think they'll look at that game and see what they did right and see what they did wrong and really take away enough information, enough strategy to help them in the gold medal game? Or do you think it's just another game, free for all?
Well, yeah, I definitely think they're going to take a look at that game as a reference. I mean, it's kind of almost a blessing that they were able to play Canada in the pool play rounds before they take them on for the medal rounds. So if I was a coach, I would definitely be looking at the replay of the games just to kind of, you want to look at their style of play. You want to look at not only your mistakes, but their mistakes too, because that's the stuff you capitalize on. So I really think that, when it comes down to it, they're going to rely somewhat on watching replays of that game and what they did in that game. But, that game is over, and the gold medal game is going to be an entirely new game, and no two games are played the same way twice.
Do you see the women at all watching that replay of the 2010 final for a bit of added motivation? I know a lot of the girls are saying that they're still very hurt and really looking forward to playing the Canadians again in the gold medal match.
I don't know about them actually watching it, maybe just thinking about the girls that were on the USA team 4 years ago that experienced that firsthand. I can definitely see them reflecting on that. I don't know if watching it may bring up some not so great thoughts and feelings and everything. And you don't want the emotions to take over too much. Playing sports is, I was always told growing up playing sports that it's 20% mental I got that mixed up. 80% mental and 20% physical. So you don't want to let the emotional aspect get to you too much. But you do want to use that as a driving factor because, coming in second behind Canada, that's got to be motivation for most of those girls. It would be for me, at least.
And in the end, it's just another game. Of course, it's the gold medal match, but you have to realize that it's just another game. You've trained throughout the year. You've trained with these girls throughout the last couple of months, and in the end, you just have to play natural hockey. And if that natural hockey is good enough to beat Canada, if the puck bounces your way, if the puck doesn't bounce your way, so be it. It's the luck of the puck, and it's the final. It's going to be a great match, and hopefully the Team USA can come away with victory.
It's nice to see the women's hockey team getting so much hype. Everyone is already kind of excited over the men's tournament and the American men, especially with the game against Russia, which we will be getting to later. But it's nice to see the women getting so much coverage, especially Amanda Kessel. She's really been on her game this year, and she's been really great, and she's been getting a lot of publicity, and I think it's helped bring some attention to the women's tournament, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see. It's always interesting, no matter which gender is playing, to see the United States and Canada in contention for the gold medal and playing the gold medal game against each other.
You know, I've got to be honest, this is the first year that I've actually actively kept up on the women's hockey team, and I think I like it almost as much as I like watching men's hockey. I can't say I like it as much or more just because I haven't watched it enough, but those girls are tough. I mean, I was a female athlete growing up, and I'd be scared to go against some of them.
Does the lack of competitiveness as far as how close the games have been take anything away from what the Canadians and the Americans have done? If you look at the rest of the countries that are competing, they've either been blown out by Canada or the US, or have played semi-competitive games between themselves. Does that take away from the women?
From a spectator point of view, I think it could, because the fans want to watch a game that's going to keep them interested and it's going to keep them engaged, and you want a game where they're going to watch all 60 minutes of play. So when it's a blowout, I mean, you know, what was the one game that they beat? We talked about it last week. They won
against the Swiss.
9-0 or something like that. So a game like that, I mean, yeah, it's fun to see them score goals and to see them come away with a win. But there's something about blowout games that I think is kind of boring. I mean, when I was growing up, you know, like I said, I played sports growing up. My favorite games to play in and to watch were the ones that were more nail biters than total blowouts.
Do you think that's been a problem for the women this year, especially with the blowout today and that blowout we just talked about? Is it hurting them any? Because, I mean, this is actually the first year I've kept up with the women's hockey as well as the men's. So I don't think it's really hurting them. I mean, maybe towards the end of the game they're losing viewers, but I think it's also helping them at the start of their next game. I don't know if people are really expecting such a blowout every game they play, but obviously I don't think that's going to happen against Canada. But
no, I don't foresee a blowout against Canada at all. But you're right. I mean, I think in a way it could hurt them, and you know, because when you're blowing out every team that you play, you almost kind of get this overconfidence that, oh, we got this in the bag. You know, and they do gel together very well. They play together as like a team that I have yet to see, you know, coming from anybody else in this tournament. But yeah, I can see where that would be a little bit of maybe a hindrance for them. But I mean, when you have that confidence, that's only going to help your play even better. So it could go either way. It's good and bad.
You're winning games in the Olympics. I don't know if it matters if it's a blowout or not. If you're keeping people interested, people are definitely going to be interested when you bring a medal home.
Looking through all the games, there's been 6 games so far where the team that's won has won by more than 3 goals. So quite a discrepancy there.
I mean, like we have a bunch of all-star teams in this tournament. That's basically what this is, and you can't really fault USA for blowing out some of these other teams when, you know, like you have that much talent and that much depth. And it's kind of amazing to think that none of these girls are professionals, you know, if you can see my air quotes there. But I don't know.
And it's not high school or sort of PoE hockey that we're playing either. It's the Olympics. You're not going to put in your 3rd or 4th unit because you don't have a 3rd or 4th unit. You're going to play until that sort of final buzzer goes, and if it's 9-1, so be it. If it's 2-2 and you go to overtime, then that's just the game. And unfortunately, the blowouts are probably being a bit over medialized. That's not even a word, but just being viewed at a lot in the media. But if you look at that Canada-USA game, it was 3-2, was a nail-biter. And that's what you have to look at, is you have 2 of the best teams in the tournament clearly playing one another in the gold medal match. And as the International Olympic Committee and Sochi, that's all you can ask for.
I think the fact that it's USA and Canada in the gold medal game, that's going to draw a lot of viewership because it was a nail-biter, and that was really the only nail-biter that the USA team had. And even though it's been those 2 teams that have dominated Olympic hockey, not just in this tournament, but in the tournament 4 years ago, I think just because it was a close game, that's what's going to make people watch this gold medal game. And not just because it's the gold medal. I mean, these are 2 very elite teams that are going to go head-to-head for this, and the gold medal on the line just makes it all the more exciting to watch and all the more high stake.
And these games are going to be happening on Thursday. You have the bronze medal game and Sweden versus Switzerland at 7 o'clock USA time. And then, thankfully, a lot more people are going to be awake for this gold medal game, Canada versus the United States. It's going to be at noon on Thursday, the 20th.
We're going to have a quick break here, and then we'll be back afterwards with a bit of a recap of the USA-Russia game. This is the Power Play on WDSR.